So this is the Samsung Galaxy A50, Samsung's 2019 $300 beautiful beast right here. Is it worth it though? Let's full review this thing coming up right now. Let's go. So the first time you grace your eyes on the Galaxy A50, you're going to notice the 6.4-inch Super AMOLED 1080 by 2340 display with Infinity U design language here, so like a little cutout at the top, and then we do have ourselves a chin or a bezel, you can call it here, and it is a flat design, so we don't have the curved of the S series. So if you like the flat Samsung panels, you'll like this. Headphone jack, USB-C, and a single speaker grill. Now on the left side, we do see ourselves the SIM tray, which also houses the dual SIM card slots right there. On the right, I do see the volume rocker, Bixby key, as well as power key right there. It doubles as that. The top, just a microphone hole, and you could see that the camera bump is just not that large, which is great because I don't like very large camera bumps as they tend to scratch up easy. Now, this phone right here is very thin, 7.7 millimeters. I mean, for this size of a phone, that's pretty thin, but the phone itself is rather large. So if you don't like big phones, you're not gonna like this one. Overall, for the price point, this phone looks twice its price. If somebody looked at this, they would think that this is a high-end premium device if they didn't know what they were looking at. It's also very light, 166 grams. For its size, it feels very light, which is a great thing. Now, it does get a little bit of fingerprints on the back, actually a lot of them, but it's very grippy with its plastic back, although if you had a case, it would be even grippier. So switching gears back to the display, that Super AMOLED display, I was having a hard time telling the difference between it and a flagship phone because it's pretty premium looking. 403 ppi is plenty sharp for most people, and you have all the display modes that you're used to from Samsung phones in the past. So you have the AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED Photo, and basic modes, but really I was having a hard time seeing a difference between this and an S10. There's not that much difference. I mean, yeah, the resolution is a lot higher, but most folks wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. You have plenty of room to multitask as well as split screen on this phone. So having that large screen and having this advantage being taken of the display is just awesome for the price. You can also turn this thing into landscape mode, use it like a little tablet if you prefer to do stuff like that. So really, I like how Samsung has the one-handed mode as well because this is a larger phone and media looks great. I mean, you have this beautiful large display, so why not take advantage of it watching a Nick Ackerman video, for example. So that cutout doesn't get in the way too much, but I do see the chin a little bit, don't like that too much, but still, I mean, you really can't complain for the price. Text looks great, color accuracy is on point, and for a Super AMOLED panel, it's not their best out there, but still, again, there's just so much good to say about this display. And also, you have gestures here, which make it a little bit funner to use than in the past when you just had the navigation keys. In addition to that, you can double tap to wake this thing up now, and you can also use the on-display fingerprint sensor. So Samsung really thought of everything you could do to take advantage of the display here with the A50, and even at half the price, you're getting most of what you get on an S10 series phone, which is absolutely excellent. Where it looks kind of similar to Samsung's before, just a little bit cleaned up here. One UI is on board here with Android 9 Pie, so this is definitely different if you're using a few versions back, and definitely the icons will be the first thing you notice. They look a lot different. Some people absolutely despise these icons, but what I really like is how Samsung included the night mode system-wide here, and it's here on the A50, and it works well because this is an AMOLED display as well. You can schedule it out. It's an awesome feature. Now, a lot of elements do come down here on this one UI, and it looks pretty nice here. It works very well because a lot of things you don't have to reach to the top. Like look at the brightness slider, it's way at the bottom, so you won't have to reach all the way to the top, use two hands and do all that stuff to get to things. You can see in messages it works as well, so it's a lot more consistent than what we've seen in the past Samsung softwares. Of course, you have all your advanced features that you've come to know and love from Samsung. There's a couple you get on the S10 you don't get here, like the wireless power share, for example, but you can do the main things like multitasking here. You can change the transparency of that as well. That's a great feature. In addition, you have lift to wake on this phone now. Awesome feature as well. You can also go ahead and just find things for days on here. I mean, this thing is loaded with features for the price point. So I gotta say, in terms of performance, I'm not really thinking that this is the fastest, budget phone out there. So I'm not gonna come up here and say get this one if you want the fastest budget phone, but it's definitely good enough for the money. I don't think you're gonna be super disappointed. The setup was a little slow sometimes, but gaming was okay. It was average. It wasn't like the best I've seen out there, but it was able to run casual games just fine, and it looked great on this display. And it even could run PUBG. I mean, it took a little bit longer to load than an iPhone or a Galaxy S series phone, but still, this thing can run it. So yes, you can do gaming on here just fine. And the Geekbench scores reflect my opinion. You could see 1711 single, 5516 multi. So that's exactly kind of like average at best here when it comes to performance. But for the target customer, it's going to be more than enough for the day-to-day usage, and it's still better than older budget Samsung phones. Now, when it comes to those cameras, we have a 25 megapixel f1.7 primary camera, also an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and a 5 megapixel depth sensor. Now on the front, you have yourself a 25 megapixel f2.0 aperture camera. Now, jumping into the software, you're going to notice it looks very similar to pretty much any of the other One UI phones, including the Galaxy S10. You have the slow motion, hyperlapse, but you don't have a pro video mode just like those other phones don't. You have live focus, which will utilize that depth sensor as well. And then up at the top, you can see your useful Bixby Vision, AR emoji, you have your settings, you have your flash, and your aspect ratios right up there where they should be. You can also click this for some filters and beauty modes to use at your pleasure. Now, also, you have the quick launch feature, which is a Samsung staple, so definitely included here. And you go wide angle. The funnest thing about this camera is the ultra wide camera here. That's the funnest thing I used my whole time using this phone. Now, I gotta say though that this camera itself does have a lot of settings, but it doesn't let me shoot 4K video, which I was a little bit disappointed by when using this phone. Only up to 1080p video, but the 1080p video did look very good, mind you. So I gotta say, it does have a pretty simple front-facing camera as well. On the whole, I think for $300 or so, this camera is actually quite fun to use and gives you most of what the S10 offers, but doesn't give you the same quality, obviously. But go ahead and check out these samples I took on the Galaxy A50 and decide for yourself what you think about it. Here's some front-facing video of the Samsung Galaxy A50. You can kind of see how the quality does look on the device. It's a pretty nice day, so we do have plenty to see when it comes to detail. Let me know your thoughts down below. When it comes to that speaker, it's just a single speaker there at the bottom. So you can cover it with a finger, but you do have your 3.5mm headset jack. There's no speaker up there above the camera. So if you're thinking that, it's not there. Now, Dolby Atmos is on board here to allow you to change equalizer settings. But in terms of how loud it gets, have a listen for yourself and tell me what you think. It's a little more clever because we have these little inserts than the S10 where I could, damage getting this little booklet thingy out here. And let's go ahead and see what's in here. It looks like you get a case. So for me, I thought it was plenty loud enough, but it's just easy to cover, so I definitely prefer dual speakers, but I wouldn't expect it here. It would have been nice, but I don't expect it. Battery life has been excellent. 4,000 milliamp hour battery with a 1080p display is a recipe for success when it comes to the battery life. And I'm getting similar to the S10 Plus and Note 9 battery life on this phone. That's 7 to 9 hours screen time. So thumbs up here. Now, when it comes to phone call quality, I was getting very good reception and very good phone call quality on T-Mobile's network, but I wasn't getting LTE services. So that might not work for you here in the US if you're buying this. So you might want to stay away from this if you want LTE. But for the price point at $299 to $350, the Galaxy A50 to me is a home run because it just looks like twice its price. It has the fun feature of the wide angle. And I think, for this money, this really is a lot of phone right here. So let me know your thoughts about the A50. You think it's worth it or do you not think it's worth it? I definitely would recommend it if you're looking for a Samsung phone. Comments down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.